Good morning, everybody. As Tracy mentioned, we're going to be taking you through the brand new Autodesk account. So we've got a few slides just to go over a few main topics just to clear up before we then switch over into the browser and we can actually go through some of the key points that for this new account. So just as a bit of background, on Friday the 13th of all dates of March, Autodesk retired their traditional subscription center account in favor of this latest Autodesk account in which you can manage all of your subscriptions. So I'm sure you're aware, Autodesk are very much moving over onto a subscription basis. And this is really the portal to make sure that you all can get hold of your subscription and make the most of all the benefits that come with it. So, just as a sort of four main points to pick up on. So the Autodesk account is very much personalized to the person logging in. We'll touch on it in a moment, but there are a couple of main roles, so three main roles that sort of that have different permissions within the Autodesk account, and so depending on those roles will be depending on the actions and the management that you have access to, and we'll be talking through them as we go along. The interface is more friendly, it's easier to use. I think one of the big benefits is that there are multiple access points. So there is definitely more than one way to skin a cat in this new system, which hopefully should make it easier to do what you need to do. The portal is faster. It's less clunky than the old subscription center. And as I touched on before, it really is the single location for all your subscription benefits. So, going back to the roles that I kind of brought up previously. So I just wanted to make sure that we kind of get this covered off, glossary of terms, if you like, just to make sure that we're all aligned. So there are three main roles that can be assigned as part of administrating your Autodesk contract. So there's the main guy, there's the contract manager at the top. This person will be the person that is originally assigned as the main contact when setting up the contract. They will have received the welcome email, they will receive renewal notifications, and most of the most important communication from Autodesk. Contract manager can then assign software coordinators. So if you've got a number of different products, then you can assign coordinators who have access rights to delegate use of those products through to end users. And that is sort of like the last layer we've got at the bottom, where end users are the main people who are using the software day in, day out. Now that's not to say that the contract manager can't also be the end user. They most certainly can. You don't need software coordinators. The contract manager can do everything that the other two can, but on the other end of the scale, the end user has very limited access. Hopefully that sort of clears that bit up. At that point, let's dive into the account, and let me just sign out quickly. So the first thing you'll see when you get to the page, the URL, very easy, accounts.autodesk.com or autodesk.com/accounts will take you to there. I believe the old autodesk.com/subscription, which was the old login, will now redirect you to this site. I haven't tested it, but I should have done. But this is your main welcome screen. Now, hopefully, you've got your Autodesk ID or your email address Generally, you know, I kind of tend to use the email address option. And that email address is the one that is registered to your main Autodesk contract. If you're unsure of this, or maybe the old contract manager has left and you need to get this changed, then get in contact with CABS and we'll be very happy to help. If you've forgotten your password, then this forgotten your password wizard is probably a good way to go. Again, having issues, get in contact with us and we'll get it sorted. Okay, so diving in. So I'm actually using my colleague's login at the moment. And this will be the main screen that will pop up. So when you log in for the first time, it can take a little while because it starts filling in all the gaps. After that, it should work a bit faster. Now, this is the main screen that you'll log into. We, being reseller, have access or have had access to a lot of products over the years. So our list is pretty long, but I'd imagine that your list might be slightly shorter and should load up a bit quicker. So just as a quick tour of the interface, here we've got on the left hand side is probably your main, what I'd class as your main navigation, the main bits where you'll be clicking through, and we'll go through these sections in a second. On one of the nice features to bear in mind with the Autodesk, they kind of call them drawers. I'd probably more inclined to call them drop downs, but click on the arrow here and it expands with information. Now, depending on which page you're on or navigation, then this content will change. But if you see a little one of these arrows, then click on it because you're going to get a load more information. On this top right hand side, we've got manage users, and this is becoming increasingly important. So I think it's great that Autodesk has stuck it on pretty much every page. It's fairly difficult to miss. So it's a good place to be. Right hand side, we've got some more options, and quick links here on the left for some extra help. And then, but where we're going to start is really at this top section here. So you'll default into the management section, but just wanted to cover off the profile menu just to begin with. So if you're logging in for the first time, it's well worth making sure that this is all set up correctly. So if we look at preferences, very important to make sure that the language of communications is set properly. Security, here is where, if you've forgotten your password, you need to reset it, then here is the place to do that. We've got profile details here, and it's important to say that this profile this doesn't change the information that Autodesk have on their contract of record. This is a profile that you can use when you're linking through to some of the forums or some other Autodesk owned sort of sharing sites that you have access to. So these so this, we do an edit profile here. By changing the address, won't change where your product is shipped to. If you do want to get that changed, then you can do that via CABS. Get in contact with us, and we'll get that changed over to you. So this is information that can be filled in that if you choose can be a personal profile rather than a professional one. That's completely up to you. The last tab at the top is linked accounts. So if you are, as I mentioned, with that profile, if you are linking to, if you're keen to link to some other social media profiles, then you can do that through this linked account section. Okay, so let's go back into the management tab. and once we get world up, so here just starting with products and services. So this is probably the bulk of where you're going to get most of the your activity, where you can download and get access to your products. So it splits it out. So initially it defaults to all, where it's going to highlight both your products and your services. So whether that's online services, 360 services, or cloud services. So if you're just looking at your products, then that will take out all of those services. So, and in here you can start seeing, looking at your options and where you can start downloading. So if we were to click on here, like I mentioned, it would drop down and you can check out so we've got our 2015 version. We're expecting 2016 fairly shortly. We've got details on serial numbers and product keys, and also we've got multiple options to download the software. So we can click here, a box opens up. Here we can choose the version that we got access to, the platform, the language. Important to make sure that we've got the right language setting, and then we can hit download now. Also in this pop-up, it gives us another viewpoint of our serial numbers. So remembering that one of the benefits of subscription is access to 3 previous versions, hence why we've got a number of different versions here that we've got access to. So also in this view, we've also got this more actions option, which then gives us another 3 options on how we would like to download the software. So there's a number of options around whether you have or whether you are happy to have Autodesk also install a download manager. So by using some of their extra tools can mean that you can download the software faster. Alternatively, you've got a few other slower options. If you're unsure, then there is a FAQ which pops up here, so you can do a little bit more reading about the best way for you. So also in this drop down, we've got some other links to how you can make the most of your subscription benefits. So we've got links to getting previous versions, and what pops up here is a nice little matrix just to give you some extra information. So what it's saying here, with maintenance subscription, we've got to do a little bit of extra work and send a request if we go on a standalone product. Now I don't know if you went through this process on the old subscription center, but it was very clunky. This is much easier to use. So stick your quantity in and your serial, an optional serial number. Make sure that your details are correct, and then down here we can stick that in there, and then we can send that request off. If you've got a network license, then that should already be included with the previous versions. Desktop or the rental subscription is slightly different in that should automatically be included within here, and there isn't any need to request the copy. So going on from that, on this more options drop down again, we've got the options for you to access your home use license. So again, benefit of subscription is that you get to install the software in 2 different places. So generally that can be a home, you may have a workstation set up at home where you would like the software also installed on. Alternatively, it could be a laptop which you need to go around to different sites, and that is fine. If you're on a maintenance subscription on a standalone license, then you can use the same serial number twice. It's not a problem. If you're on a network license, then again we've got a form to fill in and put your details in, and Autodesk will sort that out directly. We've also got, if you are on the desktop or the rental model, then that works slightly differently in that it's on a named user basis, where it gives you the option of logging in and then logging out again on multiple machines, provided that the software is installed. It's a bit more flexible. So we've also got here is the option to request a physical copy. So by default now, all Autodesk updates, so when your 2016 product is released and available in your Autodesk account, the default is that you'll have to download it, and so products aren't automatically shipped out any longer. If you would like a box, then you can request it on this link. So you can select your product, go through the language options, the quantity, double check that your shipping address are correct, and just keep on going through the steps. So it's pretty simple. So that is most of your options around managing your products and how you can get access to those issues. We've also got some additional links here at the bottom. So updates. So Autodesk are, whilst a major release comes out on an annual basis, they are doing some more continual improvement throughout the year. So throughout that year, they will, if they have an update that is ready to roll out, or maybe a service pack, then they will be found within this section here. So it is done on a chronological basis. So we've got some recommended ones at the top, and then last week we can look that we've got 34 updates. Okay, a lot of them are language specific. And what is quite nice is that you can go in here. Where's the English extension? Again, using that drop down, and then we've got some notes here around what's included, why it's good, why you should look into it. And then you can choose to ignore it, download it, access control, where we've got some different options around different devices that you can give access to. We've got a nice little information box on here. Oh, nearly. Well, I'm sure you can have a look at that in your own time. The other thing of note is that we've also got, let me go back to products, my example here, we've also got enhancements. Now enhancements are quite similar to the updates, but these are focused on previous versions. So this is a similar list that was available in Subscription Center, and this is still sort of sitting on the old platform. So probably, it's not quite slick as the updates option, but if you've got an older product that you are looking for an update that came out, then this list is pretty long, and hopefully you should be able to find it. It goes back quite a long way as well, so there is quite a lot there. You might have to do some clever searching just on the browser, Control F or whatever, and see if you can find that product. Okay, so that enhancements is also available up here in the quick link section. Okay, so just moving down this. Oh, and actually, sorry, and we've also got product updates is available on this main tab as well for ease of find. Here we've also got services, and as I mentioned, so these services are those cloud services that are available to you via your subscription. One of the benefits is that you do get access to these. Different products have different access to different services. For instance, the top one is only available for InfraWorks. We've got energy analysis for Revit. If you're a Revit user and you would like access, then we've got this drop down here. That wasn't what I was expecting. Where you can get different access for different products. Would need to have a play around. Unfortunately, there's quite a few of these, and if I'm honest, I'm not an expert on all of them. But there are lots of different options, and these benefits can really sort of enhance your experience with your Autodesk subscription. Many of these come free of charge, and and it's really important to maximize your investment. So have a play around with these and see what you can make with them. Also in this services option is access to your storage. So with any active subscription, you get 25 gigabytes of online storage. Any new users that are added to a new subscription receive a one-time offer of 100 cloud credits, and those cloud credits can also be used for things like rendering. So, and here is where you can find your rendering. If you want a little bit more information, then again the drop down can provide you with that. Okay, so kind of gone through that section. If we work our way down, here we've got reporting, and so this covers off cloud usage. Now, cloud is gradually becoming sort of more and more important to the Autodesk process. As I mentioned, if you're a new end user attached to a subscription, then you are provided with 100 cloud credits as a one-time user, provided you are still attached to that subscription. They can be used for various different services. Some of them will be, so for like the rendering, it will be a credit for a certain size of render. There are other analysis that could be 5 credits for an analysis. So some of those things depend, but it's that the cloud credits are kind of like the currency that Autodesk are using to use some of these services. Once those 100 have disappeared, and they can only be used by yourself, they can't be pulled together within your organization. Once they are used up, then you'd have to look at purchasing some new cloud credits. And CABs, should be your first point of call for that. They can provide you with that and give you a bit more information. This reporting tab can show you that you've got the number of credits that you have available amongst your team on an individual basis, and also for your cloud basis. So it looks like we've purchased quite a lot here. So we've got quite a few. We've got 3 users who are currently using them. We've used 710. We can drop down a little bit further, and you can see which products, which services have been used for the with the credits. So it can be quite handy just to see where your usage is taken up. Another important section is the users. So as I kind of touched on, so in the main products and services, again we've got this button at the top right hand corner, which if we click on will take us through to the same link as if we were to going on this users tab on the left hand side. So here you should be able to see all your users that are assigned to your contract and who essentially can have access to any of the Autodesk products that you choose. If you've got, you may have got a team of currently of 4, you're getting a 5th member, you've got that 5th license added, then you need to add a new user to give them access to it. And it's pretty simple to do. So in here we've got top left hand, we've got add users. In here we can stick in the email address, obviously first name, last name, and then you can add another user. If it was just one you're adding, you can just do this save and continue. If you are part of a big team, then you can choose to bulk add up to 50 users. So it is email address, first name, last name, with a few colons and some brackets. What's that, a chevron? I think that's the correct term. And then you can upload them all at the same time. From that, those users will receive an email, and it's not until that they accept that email that they are becoming an Autodesk user that you can then start assigning products and services to them. So here, if we just look at David, he's been provided with access to 7 different products and services, and here we can select edit access. And so we've got here, he's got access to the building design suite. We can then unassign him, and then it adds one more to our seats available. I'm going to put that back, otherwise he'll be pretty angry with me. Also here you've got access to the different services. So David here's got access to Autodesk 360. Again, we can switch that off. And then within that we can also drill down and say within the building design suite, David's got access to all of the extra functionality that comes with that. But, for instance, we know that David's a bit greedy on the whole cloud credits, using too much on rendering, so we could switch him off. He doesn't need to do that, therefore we're not going to give him access to it. So he's pretty flexible, but we'll take that back. If you've got a lot of users, then what you can do is you can select multiple ones, so potentially a whole team, and then in this drop down here you can do this edit access, and what this does, similar view, but this is editing access for all of those people selected. So you can do actions here, assign all 3 users to Advanced Steel Premium, and again this drops down to give you a greater breakdown of the different sections within that as well. But that's quite a nice feature if you've got some larger teams. So that is pretty much managing users. Hopefully that will be pretty straightforward. Here on the bottom section you've got contracts and assets, and this really covers off your master contracts. Now chances are, if you are the contract manager, that you may have multiple contracts. This is kind of becoming increasingly important with desktop, where merging of contracts between different products and different end dates is a little more tricky. I think it's something that Autodesk are working out at the moment. But here we've got one contract, so we can click into the master one, and then this just gives us a breakdown of the main details. So here we've got when the start date is, the expiry or the renewal dates, details of the main contract manager, company details, address, etc. We've got again cloud credit usage, plus details on the products and services that we've got. If you need that detail in an Excel file, then it's very simple just to export it and downloads very quickly. Probably where my Excel falls down now. It looks like it's wiring up pretty quick. And we've got a file with our different products on, which could come in handy, worth doing from time to time, just so that you've got details on the products that you've got. Let me shut that down. Right, so now that is most of the issues. So actually, Tracy's just given me a nudge. We've also got this option here where we can manage software coordinators. So on here, so as we mentioned, software coordinators can be responsible for specific products. That's always a lovely message to pop up with doing a demo. Fingers crossed, second time lucky. Right, so software coordinators can be assigned against a specific product and then can assign users to those specific products. So here we can click on the contract. So this again is kind of working on the old system. I'm sure it will get moved over at some point. So here we can select the products tab. We can select a product and then we can go to assign. So Plant Design 3D is currently assigned to Software Coordinator. If we select this drop down, this should open up. And then we can select if we make sure that we select that button, and then we can click the assign button here. If you've got you want to assign a new administrator, then you can go through and fill in this details. Now, in theory, there's probably no harm that you could create an alias. So it could be CAD manager at companyurl.com if you choose. Just make sure that the email address is access to a lot of people, and so that you can get hold of password resets and things like that, and then go through that add process and cancel. Well, I'm going to cancel out of here. Let me close this section down. Okay, so now that is pretty much the Autodesk account in sort of a quick 30-minute blast. There are one last thing actually, so I need to go on to. We've got this support option here. Now, as a reseller, our support options on this drop down is slightly less limited, or is limited. You guys will certainly see a little bit more. So I'm just going to jump back out into the presentation, and so just go through some of your support options. So here, when you hit this drop down, you should also see your support cases, which is something that we were missing on. But just going through these, a lot of support is accessible on the Autodesk website. So you can find support on specific products, and here we've also got like suites and cloud services and things like that. You can contact Autodesk, so you have some drop downs. It will take you through some kind of FAQ process. It will kind of take you down through that route first to try and find a solution, but ultimately it will then give you some options around submitting a case, and that if you're on advanced, then there'll be options where you can give an agent a call. And then here, which is what we can't see on our access, are your support cases. So an additional box will pop up, and depending on your issue, click through to one of these. One interesting thing here is that you can allow your reseller, so you can allow us, CABS, permission to view your cases so that we can follow up on your behalf. So that might be worth looking at. Again, you've got some phone support options, setting the permissions, and so that's kind of like the main benefits of making use of that support. But if you are having problems, then we would like to hear from you also. Okay, so further to that, there are lots of good FAQs, loads of tutorials and webinars that are available online, and can't stress enough, we are absolutely here to help as well. So that's the Autodesk account as a quick whiz through. Tracy, have I missed anything that you can think of?
No, if any customers have got any questions, they can pop me over an email or give us a call, and I'm quite happy to go through anything that they're having any problems with. If anyone's got anything they want to ask now, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think you might need to use the chat box that is in the GoToMeeting section. But I think that they will also come through, and as Tracy said, if you email Tracy, then we can take them offline and try and get them figured out for you. So it doesn't look like we've got any questions coming through. So at that point, I think I would like to thank you for joining us this morning. Hopefully that's been of some help. We will be having 2016 licenses are starting to populate for AutoCAD and LT. We're expecting the other products sort of around the middle of April, so they will now be accessible through this portal. Hopefully that has helped you get access to them. If you do need some more help, then please get in contact. Anything you want to finish off with, Tracy?
No, I'd just like to say thanks everybody for attending and giving us your time this morning. It's most appreciated. I really do hope you found this webinar beneficial to you. And as I said before, if there's anything you're not sure of, or something crops up that you need assistance on, don't hesitate to get in touch.